Hello and welcome. This is the Pearls of Wisdom, 30 Inspirational Ideas to Live Your Best Life Now, Telesummit. And today's topic is Harvesting the Gifts of Adversity. My name is Stephanie Gunning. I'm an author, editor, and publishing consultant. My business is getabookdealcoach.com, and I'll be the facilitator today for our three guests, Asia Voigt, Craig Meriwether, and Michelle Charrois. I just wanted to take 1 second to let people know about an event that I have coming up in Southern California, in the Palm Desert area on April 29th, which is a Sunday. It's called Full Soul Expression, Writing from the Source, and you can find out about that at practicalshamantravel.com on the event page. Anybody on this call would be welcome. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest speakers. We have Asia Voigt. Asia is an internationally known intuitive guide, animal communicator, teacher, inspirational speaker, radio host, and author. Asia connects with animals on a soul level to help them resolve emotional and behavioral issues and assists them in deepening their bonds with their human companions. She also helps people to reconnect with their own intuition, healing ability, potential, and life's purpose. Throughout a 15-year practice, Asia has assisted over 60,000 animal and human clients in her animal communication and intuitive development workshops. Her website is asiavoigt.com. Our second guest is Craig Meriwether. Craig struggled with life for 25 years, failing to go through with a planned suicide attempt. Craig determined to get out of depression and turn his life around, but he faced two major challenges: no money and no health insurance. Yet he took massive action anyway, studying, researching, and working his way through his self-sabotage, anger, and negative thought patterns. Today, Craig is recognized as a leading expert in mind mastery, eliminating depression and creating deep happiness and success, achieving results that last. His website is craiginreallife.com. Our third guest is Marcelle Charrois. Marcelle is an enthusiastic byproduct of 15 years of private and public sector experience in training and human resources management, as well as a firm believer in living fully and authentically from the heart. Her creative and innovative style and her determination to go the distance no matter what has taken her many places. As a heart intelligence coach, Marcelle draws upon her wide-ranging background and experience with yoga, meditation, metaphysics, and natural healing practices to help people create their best lives today. Her website is marcellecharrois.com. And I am so pleased to be here to talk with you today about our topic, Harvesting the Gifts of Adversity. So let me begin with you, Asia. Could you tell us a little bit about your Pearl of Wisdom story and what it has to do with today's topic?
Yes, thank you so much, Stephanie. I just feel really honored to be here. And my gift, my pearl, is about how I was in a very serious car accident. I was hit by a semi and trapped inside of a burning van, and jumped through the flames to get out, and ended up in the intensive care with a 3% chance to live. And they told my family that if I did live, I would be 98% disabled. And during that time, I had a near-death experience, although I really felt I was one breath away from death for many, many months. And during this particular time, I crossed over and was met by very wise spiritual teachers. And we really spent hours and hours talking about many topics, but they really wanted me to come back to earth and share my ability, my intuitive ability, to help people and animals. But when I saw my body laying down there in the hospital bed, I just thought, I don't know. It just looks like a mess. I just not sure that it can heal. And they said, we will help you. Listen to us. We will guide you. So I was back in my body, but another month went by, and my legs did not move. And they brought in a specialist, a neurologist, to test my legs, and he told me there was no chance of getting any feeling or movement back in my left leg, maybe a few percent in my right leg, and I needed to prepare for a life in a wheelchair. And, now as you can imagine, anybody who would be brought up with this situation, you might want a second choice here of someone to assist you. But really what I was remembering is the divine teachers that I had met saying, no, we're going to help you. You need to go back to earth. You're going to heal. So suddenly I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is this still standing there? I needed to turn on my intuition again powerfully, which I had very strongly as a child. And I had turned it off for a while, and I needed it there to guide me. I needed to know. And I just started turning it back on and praying and connecting, and I heard from my guides again, you will walk. And so there's a little more to that story that they can find out in my chapter. But that is really about what I'm sharing, and really I help other people to see that with divine guidance, they can just know that they can be guided in any path in their life.
That's an amazing gift to take from adversity, is just the reconnection with your intuition. Would you say, bottom line, that that's the main thing that you walked away with? I mean, besides helping so many people and animals,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really just having that confidence about people being able to be guided on a spiritual, intuitive level. It's not just a nice concept for me. It's not a new age thing. It's not a woo-woo kind of idea just for some. It's really available for everyone, and I absolutely know that this is part of our soul's path and our soul's right to be here on earth, that everyone has that, whether they're in a severe car accident, whether they're trying to decide between a new job in New York or in Wisconsin, or some other thing about their animals, trying to decide something the vet says, and maybe their gut feeling says something else. And so I really believe that's a part of each of our lives.
That's incredible. Wow. Well, I'm glad you're walking. I'm glad you recovered. That sounds like a very difficult situation to be in. So let me ask you the same question, Craig.
Sure.
What is your Pearl of Wisdom story about, and how does it relate to the theme today, which is harvesting the gifts of adversity?
Well, I think the universe likes to tap you on the shoulder in a couple ways. You can go through an incredible experience like Asia did, and you can use that, as a way to wake up and move to the next level of whether it's emotional or mental or spiritual. Or I think the kind of way it happened for me, I was just sort of got bogged down by life, and I can't say anything really fairly traumatic. I had the usual growing up stuff with parents, and there's alcoholism in the family and things, but it's sort of like what happened to me was sort of like that famous frog that's in a pot of water that slowly gets heated up until it goes to the boiling, and the frog doesn't jump out. And I sort of woke up one morning just tired of life and just worn down and had enough. And I just thought there might be something better on the other side. And I think what really scared me about the idea of maybe taking my own life and just wanting to get rid of the dread and the despair and the sorrow was that I actually thought it was a real good idea. That I thought, this might be a way to just, end the kind of emotional suffering, that vague, unrelenting, anger and depression. And in my life, I had my son with me and my wonderful wife, and I just realized, I was dealing with problems with my own father, and he's still alive, and I couldn't imagine what, taking myself out would do to my son. So I decided that, I'd spend my time figuring a way out of this, and I spend a lot of time, and I finally worked my way out. And I think the universe, like I said at the beginning, it wants to get your attention in some way, and it uses various methods, whether it's something traumatic like a massive car accident or just maybe weighs life down heavy on you, and you can, see the signal and rise to the occasion and step up and move to the next level like life wants you to. Or, I think that's why so many people are unhappy. There's 1 in 10 Americans are taking antidepressants. I think there's a serious need for, that people want to feel happy. And there's this life is so busy, and you get bogged down in the minutia of little things, just trying to get dinner on the table. And it does take some time. It does take some effort and does take some energy. But, if you can see that little signal, if you can see that, it's sort of like check engine light and not ignore it, but do something about it, and you can have an incredible life. Like, look at what Asia was able to accomplish. And I think, but you have to hear the signal, and you have to see it, and it's painful to go through this kind of stuff. But if you can see the signal, then you can actually transform and move and grow as a human being.
I love that analogy to the check engine light. I actually saw an article a couple of days ago in a newspaper saying that something like 30% of all Americans drive around with their check engine light on all the time, and they never check their engines. That's even a higher number.
See, the thing is, it's because your car still works. My check engine light's on. It's been on for 8 years. But it's like, I don't know what's wrong with it. I take it to the mechanic, and he fixes stuff when I see, oil on the ground. But it's like, and it's the same with life. It's like the frog in the pot. It's like, check engine light on, but the car is still moving. And I'm still waking up in the morning, and I'm getting out of bed. It's a struggle. Sometimes I don't want to. And I still make it through the day. And at the end, you turn on the TV just to power down, and then you get to sleep, and you do it again the next day. It still works, but you're not living a life worth living. It's not worthwhile. And I think what people will see that as the status quo. They see that as the line. It's like, well, I'm surviving. And life can be so much more than that. And it needs to be.
Right.
And your birthright is to be happy and successful. But it does take effort, and it's, life can just bog you down at times, and you lose track of that.
So adversity, it doesn't have to be a semi hitting you. It can also just be setbacks, disappointments, feeling tired. I'm getting that's an adversity can be the voice in your head that's criticizing you, that's unrelentingly, miserable. Yeah,
I think the universe just turns up the volume if you ignore it. If you ignore that pain, then you're having stomach pain, and you just ignore it. In a month it might be horrendous, and you might have to go to the hospital and have your appendix out or something. It'll just, if you ignore it, the volume gets turned up, and maybe to get your attention, you have to be in a massive car accident, or you have to wake up with an idea that maybe suicide isn't such a bad thing after all. Or, you look at anybody's story, whether it's, Nelson Mandela or Mother Teresa or, Michael J. Fox or anything. They go through this massive, horrendous tragedy. And it was Nelson Mandela in the prison for 25, 28 years, and they walk out a better person. You read any of those books by Michael J. Fox, he says Parkinson's disease is the best thing that's ever happened to him. And there's other people that, they get into drinking and they get into drugs because they can't handle it. It's like, well, for some reason, Michael J. Fox or Nelson Mandela or pick anybody that you would put on your wall of fame, and they would, they've gone through something, and they just heard the message, and they moved to the next level.
Well, let me bring our third guest on, and let's get yet another point of view on this. Marcel Charrois. Hello, Marcel. Could I ask you the same question, which is, what is your Pearl of Wisdom story, and what is the gift of adversity that you've harvested?
Well, I can totally relate to what Craig was just talking about listening to the signals, because my Pearl is kind of revolves around that as well. I basically tell a story in my chapter about when I was a little child, how I really felt like I didn't really fit in anywhere, and I felt ostracized. I really got teased about my name. Marcel isn't really a common name for a girl, and I kept getting teased about my name, and I didn't know what to do about it, and was really upset, and came home one day and asked my mom, why would you give me such a name, Mom? Like, this is just torture. And and that's, what made me realize, when she told me the story, the real value behind my name and the real love behind my name. And I was able to kind of switch, my reaction to the teasing in a way that, totally changed my life, really. I realized the power of changing your thoughts and the way you react to things, and how that could really be so powerful, and how we have it within all of us to do that. And basically what my mother told me is that before she had me, she had lost a child, and she was in the hospital, and there weren't anybody that could speak French. My family is French, and where we lived, there weren't a lot of French doctors or nurses in the hospital at the time. And she was basically by herself during the day until my dad could visit in the evening with us. I don't even remember if we were allowed to go in at that time. But she was alone all day, didn't have anybody to talk to, and there was this young girl, 15-year-old woman, who had her appendix removed, and her name is Marcel, and she took the time every day to go in and talk to my mom. And her kindness and loving, caring consideration of my mother was what prompted my mom to decide, and she told her on the spot that her next child would be named Marcel, whether it was a boy or a girl. And so that really changed a lot inside of me, when I heard the story. And I was able to, I'm really sorry that somebody's ringing my bell at home, and I've got to hang on.
Well, I can take a minute, and we can come back to you if you need to answer your door.
No, it's okay. I just somebody come in and fix something in my kitchen. I'm so sorry. Talk about harvesting the gifts from adversity.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's that when the doorbell rings, an angel gets their wings thing. So, I'm sorry. Anyway, so what I was trying to say is that, there's just one thing that can happen in our lives, throughout our lives, where we have things that happen to us, and we don't quite know what to do until we figure out a way to reframe it and really recognize that all that we need is within us to actually discover the gift in the adversity. And the gift for me at that point was to find out the real value behind my name and the tremendous love behind my name. And that just changed everything. And I carried that through my life as I faced different challenges. And one of the bigger ones, in the last few years of my life was a major illness. And it was like a wake-up call, like Craig was saying. I was just doing the same thing over and over every day, but something wasn't working because it led me to tremendous illness. And I realized that, I had to change something. And the illness was certainly not a lot of fun to deal with, and there were financial struggles around, being off work and all of that. And but it was a tremendous blessing. I saw it as a tremendous blessing. After a little while of having a chance to
now finally stop and examine what I was doing and actually reconnect with myself and who I really was and what I really wanted and what my passions were and how I really wanted to help others, with the same kind of struggles and recognize their own power that is within them to really, I talk about stop, reverse, and celebrate in my chapter. So to really stop the things that aren't working and reverse that and be able to truly celebrate every day the gifts in our lives, regardless of the adversity and the challenges that are presented to us.
I love it. I really relate to what you said about when you knew how much love was behind the name. Then you received the gift of love, and I know that you work with people on heart intelligence. Is that what you mean by the phrase heart intelligence?
Yeah, heart intelligence is really connecting to our own truth and inner guidance, because it's in all of us, and we just need to know how to reconnect, and that's what my illness allowed me to do, is to rediscover that, and that it is within all of us. And we're a lot stronger than we realize at times, and the illness did teach me that. I was able to get through, even though it seemed so, hopeless at times. And what carried me through is that heart intelligence that's inside of all of us, our own truth, our own inner strength, and our power to connect to our higher self in our own divine nature. And we're here, with specific gifts to be expressed into the world. And I think that, it's just a matter of recognizing it and be able to tap into it and fully express it.
So let me cycle back over to Asia, and I'm curious if you have a reaction to what Craig and Marcel have been talking about, because it seems to come full circle that intuition and talking to the higher self and checking your engine light, that seems to be a part of that intuitive process that you were talking about. Is there something in meeting adversity that brings out a kind of resilience in us,
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I have a couple of areas I wanted to comment. At first, what you're saying is, and that Marcel was saying, is that absolutely knowing your strengths. I now have a sense in me of everything that I have gone through physically. Emotionally, I was also abandoned by my family for 17, 18 years. And so to know on an emotional and physical level that you can survive anything, it's really like climbing Mount Everest and returning, but really never leaving your own self. And having that confidence when you live in the world now. So that, it just makes me smile. I feel so delighted that I didn't give up. And really, for anyone else who's listening who is going through a time in your life with great adversity, and for every single person, even though maybe yours wasn't suicide or a car accident or being teased, whatever your adversity is, it's your greatest. And not to compare that, oh, well, that didn't happen to me, I shouldn't feel that way. No, this is your greatest piece right now. And to not miss the gift or the learning, the awakening in that opportunity, and to use that. I mean, I think sometimes I created some of the greatest writings. I have great stories. I've made great art. I've been able to know the depths of things. And when you come through that, and you will, then there is such a great sense of peace and accomplishment, and then you can use that to assist others. It is absolutely worth it. And even when Craig was saying about Michael J. Fox, I just feel too, the car accident and the fire that I went through was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I don't need to do it again, and I wouldn't have missed that experience this time. It is fantastic. So So definitely
it sounds like it sounds like you're saying that having gone through something difficult makes you more appreciative, because you said it put a smile on your face, and just knowing that there's this light on the other side, that there's something greater. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, and just the accomplishment, what I've already accomplished on a soul level, emotional, spiritual level, I am just so excited. Because when I crossed over to the other side when I had died, and they just had said to me, "You're really not living a life of love. You're living in a life of fear, and you're holding back, and you're closed down. And let's give you some lessons here on really how to shift that." And it was fantastic, and I feel like that's how I'm living now. Like, I can't wait to get up in the morning. What's next? What else can I create? What else can I accomplish? And I'm very passionate about my life. I love it and feel very guided. And as when Craig was saying, when you don't have that guidance, it is such a sense of loss. And probably the most painful thing that I've ever gone through, compared to my car accident, fire, my family abandoning me, those would not be the two most painful things. And it was during a 10-year period when I had my intuition closed down when I was a young teenager. I started hearing people's thoughts. I didn't know how to control it. I just said, I just want this turned off. And that was the most painful time in my life for me.
Wow. So the low-grade pain is worse than being hit by a truck.
Yes.
That's quite a statement. Yeah.
It is. There's not that many people who can say that, and that's why when I teach my students, like, this, you need to learn this. You need to remember, awaken it. This is your life. You may not even realize how lost and closed down and fearful you're living, because I didn't know until later I had to compare. So that's why I feel so passionate. Like, let's wake this up. Let's start. Let's jump into your life. Let's go and get that guidance turned on so you can be living your soul's purpose and passion now. So,
Craig, do you feel that what you've learned has deepened your experience of life, that it's made you more appreciative, that it's brought you to a lighter place?
I wanted to tap onto something that Asia just said, and what really hit me was she said, she was going through, she was learning about her gifts when she was younger, and she turned them off. And I think, if you ignore what your purpose is supposed to be here in life, the universe will try to get your attention in any way possible. And who knows what how the universe was trying to get Aza's attention before the car accident. And it took something huge like that for her to recognize that she wasn't on the path she was supposed to be. And I think at some point, I don't know if this was before we hit our life here on Earth, or if it's while we're discovering who we are as we're growing up. But at some point we decide, this is what I want with my life. This is what I want to do. This is what I feel compelled to do here on Earth. And I think the universe says, well, sure, I can help you with that. Here's what you need to do to get to that point. And it might be uncomfortable. And, like Asia said, I wouldn't want to go through that again. You couldn't give me enough money in the world to go through depression again. And, it's not fun. And it's like, it moves you so far away from your comfort zone. Even if you're comfortably miserable, just trying to change moves you so far. I think that's why so many people don't do it. It's hard. And, so they talk about the 1%, in the economy, the 1%. Well, this is, the stuff we're doing here. If you're on the call and listening to this, or listening to the recording, you're part of the 0.0001%. People don't want to do this stuff because it's difficult and it's hard. But Viktor Frankl said he was survived the Holocaust and went on to write Man's Search for Meaning, an amazing book. And he says, what is to give light must endure burning. And it'd be nice if we didn't have to do that, and hopefully we can go through just a tiny little bit of burning. But if you want to share your light in the world, something's probably going to happen to to wake you up, because or like Einstein said, you can't go through the consciousness you have now. How does it go? You cannot solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. You must learn to see the world anew. So the person you are now cannot create the person you want to be. And that's going to create some change, and sometimes change can be uncomfortable.
So having gone through that change, though, I mean, certainly you don't want to go back and re-experience the pain, but having gone through the change and the transformation that it made you into this new person with this new view on the world, is it a deeper experience of living?
Absolutely. It's a feeling of I don't know. It's like a joy and a happiness, and that's not to say that I walk around with a silly grin on my face all day long, or problems don't crop up, or I don't get smacked upside the head with a new lesson. But there's an underlying peace of knowing that I'm going to get through this, and maybe I'll if I can look deep enough, maybe I can learn something and actually, create the new Craig that will create more happiness and more, spiritual growth and emotional growth and mental growth. And it's not fun and it's not comfortable, but, if you keep at it and you keep working at it, and not give up, like Asia said, and I think that's what takes a lot of people out. They get too far away from the comfort zone, and they say, which is inevitably uncomfortable. They say it's just easier to watch TV or play video games or have that next drink or that next piece of pizza or piece of cake. It makes you feel good, for a few minutes, and then you go look for that next new thing to make you feel good, whether it's shopping or what have you. But if you can not give up and you just keep going, and it will happen, And I don't know how long they say bamboo can grow 13 feet in a week, but it takes 7 long years for those roots to grow underground. And if you can maintain those roots and nurture those roots, then you're going to see massive growth in yourself.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that if we can hang in there for however long it takes, we eventually see the reward? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I hate to say the word "hang on," because it takes effort and energy. I mean, I can't tell you how many books I went through, and I'd be down at the library 2-3 times a week just pulling books off the shelf. I'm looking at videos. I didn't, I kind of stopped having a social life. Well, you're depressed, so you don't have one anyway. But it's like, I didn't do the thing. I didn't go to concerts and movies and things. I'm reading books about how to improve myself, and it took a lot. Probably from the day I woke up and decided that my life needed to change until I finally realized, what, I'm cooking along and I'm doing really well. It was probably three years of intense work. I got my job and I got a family and but it's in every spare moment I'm listening to recordings like this. I mean, you should see my
And were you
thing.
reprogramming your thoughts? Is that what you were doing? I mean,
yeah, that's a great way to put it, because I think a lot of this has to do with your subconscious mind, and I think a lot of the self-help stuff out there works with just like the conscious mind, which is they say something like 3, 4, 5% of your brain is this conscious mind, and the rest is run on automatic pilot, and it does beat your heart and your lungs breathe, but it also automatic. You have your emotional automatic reactions to things, and that's the part that you have to deal with, is the automation in your subconscious mind. And so many people just, it's like you download programs onto your computer, onto the hard drive, and that's like the subconscious. And what you see on the screen is kind of like your conscious mind. So if you see a bug, something you don't like, you just can't draw on the screen of your computer and make it go away. If you draw really well, maybe you'll make your computer look nice, but you've got to take that program out of there and upload a new program. You have to see the world new. You have to change your consciousness, and that's where the work comes in. That's where the effort and the energy comes in.
Marcel, I'm wondering if you have a response to what Asia and Craig have been saying, particularly because you work with heart intelligence. Do you feel that you're also working at the level of belief and thought and subconscious mind?
Oh, very much so. And I wanted to also touch on what Craig was saying about being on the edge of that comfort zone all the time. And I think that's where we learn the most and we break through the most, to bigger and better things, is when we allow ourselves to be uncomfortable with the changes and keep going, because life is going to keep, presenting itself in various ways to us to give us the opportunity to grow. And we could choose to ignore it. And what happens in that case, illness is one of the often products of ignoring what our inner urgings and longings and dreams and goals are telling us. Often manifests in illness if we're not following that, if we're not following our own inner truth. And so I think, yeah, you're right. I could totally agree with what Craig and Asia was saying about, that adversity is partially, a way for us to grow and to really, actually it's to invite us to reconnect with the truth at every moment in our life. The truth is that we do have, an immense amount of gifts and strength and uniqueness that is meant to be expressed in this life, and that is uniquely us. And our little piece is just as important as another piece. We're all connected. And if we're not doing that, then we're not only doing ourselves a disservice, we're doing others a disservice, because I think we're here on this earth to also help each other, to collectively build a better world in this lifetime, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. I've been listening, and the thought that keeps popping back into my head is, couldn't this be done in a less painful way? And for instance, running a marathon or challenging. So could we substitute the word challenge for the word adversity and still discover our gifts? I mean, do the gifts emerge in response to the need for the gift? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Repeat that again. That was.
Let me see if I can articulate. Did you get it, Craig? Did you?
Yeah, I got it. And I want to. Yeah, let me just chime in real quick. I think you absolutely can, but I don't think you see the signals. I mean, I think you can change. I think, there's probably gazillion examples in the world of people who can, move to the next level with their spirituality or their emotionality or their mental process, and they can move to the next level without having that tap on the shoulder or the adversity or the challenge they have to. But I think so many people miss it, because why change when you're comfortable where you are? Why change when you're having a nice time where you are? And I think if you're so clear on what it is you want, you'll see those, and like Asia, your intuition's working, and you see those little synchronicities pop up in your life. The workshop that gets in front of you. Okay, well, I'll go to that. But I think for a lot of us, look at the great masters in history. The Buddha had to go through tons of adversity. Left his family and then went through decades of trying to find the right way until he finally sat down under the tree to enlightenment. Jesus, the same thing. The adversity he had to go through just to get to the point where he could start teaching. And I don't know if that's, maybe it makes it better or greater. I don't know, but I don't think you have to. But I think unless that siren is going off and the lights are going off, you're not going to notice a fire truck coming down the street at you.
So I wonder if Asia has a point of view about this one. So if I was just going along and I was happy and fine and comfortable and I didn't want to change necessarily, would my soul would I not be fulfilling my purpose by not learning about my gifts because I had no need for them?
Yeah, I would love to talk about that. I want to jump backwards just a minute to say about those little messages beforehand, which actually I was almost in 4 small fires before I was in my big car accident fire within that year before. And I remember going, wow, okay, the outside of my flat almost started on fire. I almost had a fire in my apartment. Like I was in my early 20s, and I just remember really noticing that, but I just couldn't seem to expand my mind. I couldn't seem to wake up. I was definitely noticing this pattern, but I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. And had, on my soul level, I guess I needed to go, I did need to go to that next level for transformation, deep healing, clearing, burning away, transformation, near-death experience, was just going to go for all of that. So now, when I do get those hits, like, you should head this direction, or there's some more healing that you need to do that you're not seeing, you can bet that I am journaling, I'm punching pillows, I'm off to a workshop, I'm seeing a therapist, a counselor. I'm not waiting. So that is the thing, too, that I really encourage with my students, that if you're seeing these hits over and over again, just don't, your light is on in your car, don't ignore it. Don't wait until it has to get, the big semi hitting you, because there are other ways to do it. And absolutely. And I feel like, too, with saying, I'm having an easy life, I've got great parents, I've got a great job, I'm quite satisfied. Does that mean I'm missing something? No. And it just makes me think of a story that my cat, a little gray cat, Missy, recently told me. She said, I'm taking it easy this life. You wait on me. That's it. End of story. Okay, great.
So Missy's giving you the gift of taking care of her.
Exactly. She said, I did the big lifetime, the big seeking, searching, wandering lifetime last time. This is my resting life. So, go get my cat treats.
So I want to circle back to Marcel, because I wasn't sure that we had finished with you with that particular topic about whether or not going. Do we only learn about our gifts by having it be painful, or can we learn about our gifts by having it be easy and challenging but easy?
Yeah, I totally concur with what Asia and Craig were saying, too, because it's both, I think. And it's kind of like you sometimes need a wake-up call to tune into it. And then once you're tuned into it, then it's maybe not as hard to pick up the messages, like what Asia was just saying, is, to notice the messages and the insights that are coming in to help guide you. To live more fully, to be happier, to follow your dreams, do whatever that is. That's what I found is after the illness and the recovery, it became easier to realize when I wasn't tuning into myself and giving myself the space, because you got to give yourself the permission to have a break. Kind of like what Asia's Cat's saying, hey, I'm taking it easy this life. Well, we can give ourselves a break. We don't have to be go, go, go all the time. Give yourself a break and take 5 minutes to meditate and to tune into yourself, or to, cater to one of your own little pleasures. because we're not on this earth to suffer. I think we're here to also be joyful and happy and enjoy life and bring joy and happiness to others. And we can't bring joy and happiness to others if we can't do that for ourselves. So, yeah, for sure, I think there's both, and it's all of it is us learning about ourselves and and just getting better at, I think, tuning in and really following what's coming from our heart.
I think listening to the three of you talk about this subject, that the biggest gift you all got was mindfulness. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely mindfulness. Yeah, because it's almost like when things are happening, you're more aware. You're taking a double take quicker. Oh, I'm doing that again. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should try this way instead. So there seems to be a new level of awareness with every learning that comes through our consciousness as we move along in our lives and accomplishing our goals and our dreams and trying to be happy.
I love the whole topic of happiness. I think that's good. I really do. I mean, whatever that means. What does it mean to you, Craig?
I want to chime in real quick on the mindfulness. The Marines have a saying that says, "You do not in combat. You do not rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training." And if you can't become aware of what's going on in your life and these automatic reactions you have, nothing's going to change. If it's like in AA what they say, if insanity is keep doing the same things you're doing, expecting different results. And if then it goes back to Einstein. It's like you can't create a new consciousness with the consciousness that got you where you are today. And the first very big step that you take when you're on this path is becoming aware and mindfulness of what's going on in your life right now. And that's why emotions are such a great I don't know, what would you call it? Like a
flag.
Signal. Yeah, flag. There you go. A great flag as to what's going on in your life. Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you desperate? And you're probably not on the right path. And the universe, or your mind at least, is trying to signal you that things are not right. And if you become mindful of that, just with your emotions and what's going on with you, that is the perfect place to start. You want to be where you are. My guess is if you're listening to this, then probably not.
Well, I mean, I think that the desire to learn is a very resilient desire. I mean, I would imagine that the people who are listening, I liked what you said about that this is probably the 1% of curiosity. Yes.
But it's because I'm sorry. I was going to say it's just because it's hard. I mean, it's hard to notice what's going on with you and then committing to changing it. They were saying, I read somewhere, and I wish I had it in front of me, but it says most people just try once or twice. And look at Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. What did they go through? Something like 147 different publishers before one decided to publish Chicken Soup for the Soul. What if they'd given up at 97 or 102? And it goes back to you don't give up. As I mentioned before, you got to just do it. If you have a vision of what you want in your life, and that's probably the first place to start is what is it that you want, then you got to keep going.
So the other thing that I get from what you all are saying is that from this mindfulness, you can really begin to live in a more intentional way, so that instead of just responding to the world and its challenges, that the growth comes from some kind of inner direction. Asia, I'm curious what you think about that, because is that intentional living and self-directed growth the path that we really get to from the mindfulness?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I every day really takes time to check in with my spiritual guides, animal guides, the divine, to find out, what this is kind of what I would like to do and I'd like to connect with. And within that, what do you see? How can you guide me? Even everything from wearing certain clothing. I'm just thinking of this story. I was going to be on this TV show I speak at the Midwest Horse Fair in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm going to be doing that again in April for any of the people who are in that area. And they were going to interview me for this TV show. And I remember just checking in. I had my outfits that I was going to wear, and I asked my guides, okay, what should I wear today? And they were like, absolutely this outfit. I'm like, really? Okay, all right, sure. So I wear it, I get to the event, and they had kind of like an orange curtain behind me, and if I would have wore the other outfit that I was going to wear, which was orange, I would be like the talking head. It would have been horrible. And so I'm like, thank you, that I checked in, that they even knew, like, what clothes to tell me to wear, what guided me, because they could see ahead. Oh, boy, if she wears this orange outfit, that she's not even going to show up on the TV. And, wear this gray one instead. You're going to complement the background. You're going to stand out. You're going to look great. So I think that really shows us that checking in with our mindfulness, and however level that is for you, is so essential. And there's nothing too small, like even like what outfit are you going to wear, that your angels and your guides and your animal helpers don't want to assist you with. They can see these things. So, yeah, take advantage. And so I love teaching people how to be able to do this and reawaken that. So, so nothing is too small to get that
so
mindful guidance.
You can avoid fashion adversity.
Yes. Exactly.
I love it. So I want to just take a second, because we're getting towards the end of the call, to remind people who are listening about the book. It's Pearls of Wisdom, 30 Inspirational Ideas to Live Your Best Life Now. And the three authors that we're speaking with today have all contributed chapters to the book, which is now available on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble. And I believe that there's a Pearls of Wisdom book page on Facebook, and you can go there and find out information about some gifts that are being given away to people who purchase it. So I want to give everybody a chance to give one kind of final message to our listeners on the subject of adversity, and you each have a couple of minutes. So why don't I start with Craig, just for random order?
Oh, sure. Thanks. Actually, real quick about the book. The publisher actually put together this amazing gift program, bonus gift program. If you go to pearlsofwisdomthebook.com, there's like an hour-long teleseminar with Jack Canfield and Janet and Chris Atwood are doing the passion test, and Marcy Scheimoff is in conversation with Ram Dass, and all the other authors have contributed something. So it's an amazing, amazing thing. If you go there and buy it from Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and then you can download all this other stuff. It's really cool. But if I was to point to one thing that, I don't know, slapped me upside the head and realized what it is I had to do, or is this one idea or philosophy or whatever you want to call it, it actually came from Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And there's a little passage she wrote that and it goes like this. She says, happiness is a consequence of personal effort. You have to participate relentlessly in the manifestations of your own blessings. And once you've achieved a state of happiness, you must never become lax about maintaining it. You must make a mighty effort to keep swimming upward into that happiness forever, to stay afloat on top of it. If you don't, you will leak away your innate contentment. And I think that pretty much sums up the way I went about changing my life. It was just like I had to be relentless. You know, you have to strive for it. You have to go after it with everything you got. And I think that's why a lot of people would rather take a pill or take another drink, is because it does take time, it does take effort, and you have to be relentless and never give up.
So never give up, be relentless. Yeah. I love it. Mm-hmm. What about you, Marcel? What would be some, a message or a concept that you would really love listeners to walk away from this call with?
Well, what I would like to share with our listeners is that to truly harvest the gifts in our lives, whether it is from adversity or otherwise, I think the best life we can create for ourselves is one that intimately knows, expresses, and honors our truth, your own unique truth, and your truth is in your heart. And the more you can stay connected to your heart, and the more you can, like Greg said, follow that heart and be relentless about that, I think that's when you're going to really create the life that you really truly want to live for yourself and for your loved ones. And I think there's always a ripple effect around that. That means that a better world will be created as a result.
I love that. So we're really aiming not only to help ourselves, but to help everybody.
That's right, because I think in making that effort for ourselves, because we're all energy. Our energy, what we're producing, and in terms of our mind, body, soul energy, is actually connected. We're all connected. We all feel that energy, and the more we raise our own vibration in the way that we live our lives, and the highest vibration is in the heart. It has been proven scientifically. So the more we can do that, I think the more that we will affect immense change around the world, and the more the ripples will be felt, and the more we'll create a world that will be a much better world, a happier world, a more loving world.
That's beautiful. And how about you, Asia? We have a couple more minutes. If you have a message that you want to share with listeners before we come off the call.
Yes, and I also just want to thank you, Stephanie, for doing such a great job here today, with a nice flow that you've created for all of us. And to add to what Craig and Marcel are saying, just another angle that I'm thinking of is so many years ago when I had my accident, it was in response to how I was raised and how my family talked to me, was that there was something that I did wrong, that it was a punishment. And so if anybody has that going on in their minds, and I've really looked at this myself, it's really missing, what we're talking about here is the gift. That to step out of that blaming and really, as we've been speaking here, find the gift in that adversity, and that I know that God, the divine, that the inner light, whatever you'd like to call that expanded energy that exists, this is not for a punishment, but this is our souls seeking these challenges, climbing that mountain, looking for that learning, and that really to see that as a blessing, and that there's nothing wrong with you, and this is a piece, a gift that you can learn and then therefore share with others. So that's what I would like to make sure that people understand, and I've been there, and it doesn't serve. It absolutely doesn't serve. So and I love that the name of what we're talking about here is definitely, the gift from these adversities, gifts from challenges, and they're there.
Yeah.
So,
can I say one more thing? Because I think what Asia just said was so powerful. It's just like, because I probably could have not have suffered so much if I didn't keep blaming myself for, every tiny little mistake I was making and that things weren't going right. And, and the stuff that happens to you, try to get your attention, whether it's the alcoholism in your family or the abuse or the bullying or whatever is going on, that there's nothing wrong with you and it's not your fault. However, it is your responsibility to do something about it. And maybe that's the one thing I probably more than anything else, if I could just say one thing, maybe it would be that. It was just, it's not your fault. Somebody's trying to get your attention to turn you around, and it's your responsibility to do something about it.
I think that's beautiful. So on behalf of all the listeners, I'd love to thank you, Asia, and Craig and Marcel, and thank you, listeners, for being with us. The website, again, for this anthology is pearlsofwisdomthebook.com. And have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.